Yo, my people, what up, though? We back with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief.
And I'm Bell.
My name is Prentice.
Why you always sound so lame when you say your name? Put some
Who?
Lame.
lame man.
Damn, but I gotta sound lame. My name is Prentice, nigga.
I don't know what it is.
It's my name.
I think you just
No,
always
it was,
wait
it
for
was the
delay.
pause. It was the
Yeah,
pause.
it's the
That's what it
delay.
was.
Yeah,
It was the pause.
it's always the delay. Like waiting on you. All right, what's goody though, fellas?
Shit, man. I just got back from dinner. Like literally just got back from dinner.
No doubt. Nah, the other way, P. Yeah, there we go. Let's do it, fella. Let's walk right into it, man. Check in. Bell, go ahead, go first, B.
I'm good, man. My boss and I, myself, my boss and Lo had dinner tonight, which was cool. She specifically came. We had to catch up for our mid-year and all of that, but it was important. She's about to have a baby, and it's actually her last trip like that she can take. So she flew out and had dinner with me and Lo. It was important for her to meet Lo. And shout out to Jessica. We went to her restaurant, Moxie's, in the Seaport. It was dope. Good time. Today was cool. I feel like I should have more to report, but I don't. I redid my Father's Day on Sunday. I went to go see Bad Boys. It was real good. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, I ain't go see it yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't stream it. You know, you still got the hookup, right? Like Master P and them.
True.
But yeah, it was good, man. They don't disappoint, dude. Like they've been doing this for 30 years and they don't disappoint. So I did that. Couple of my guys from New Britain came to Boston, hung out with them. We had a great time, like a very impromptu, good, like happy hour. It was cool. I saw my man B. Blackface. When last time you saw B, Chief?
It's funny. I actually seen him. I was in the park like less than a week ago, and he was there with his daughter. I was there with my kids, and we just linked up for a minute.
Yeah, I ain't seen B in at least a year, more than likely 3. But but yeah, it was good linking up with them. Work is flowing, man. I had a great meeting this morning. Feeling more confident in the space. That's it, man. That's all I really got. I ain't got nothing else. I went live last night, told the people that you got some good news to share, Chief.
Stop telling my business.
I didn't tell the business. I said you got some good news. You woke up today. That could have been the good news.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No doubt. Appreciate you. P?
Shit, man. I showed y'all the pictures, but yesterday I was on the freeway doing like 70. The rear tire in the Benz exploded while I was driving. I pulled over, managed to get off the freeway, and discovered that the tire was not only pierced, but the rim got pierced as well. So there's a big ass hole through the whole rim. So that means that I couldn't get the tire replaced. And I went to Mercedes and they want $1,600 for one rim because it's an AMG rim. One rim, nigga.
Oh, you got an
so
AMG.
Then I got on Facebook Marketplace. You said what?
You got an AMG.
Yeah, man. So
my bad, Playboy.
Yeah.
My bad, Playboy. My bad. Yeah, man. No disrespect. No disrespect.
You know, Sarai got an AMG.
That's what's up.
You know? But yeah, they wanted $1,600 for one rim. So then I got on Facebook Marketplace and started looking around and shit. People are selling 4 AMG rims for $1,000 with the tires. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure out what, we're gonna go the smartest route, bro. But I handled it really well, man. Yeah, I handled it really well because I had just dropped off Anaya. I had just left Best Buy, bought a brand new TV for the back patio. I fixed up the back patio and shit. So I had a whole plan for the day, and that just kind of fucked my shit all the way up. But I took it with a grain of salt, man. Got it taken care of. Well, it's not taken care of yet. It's about to be. But you know, that was the most exciting shit that's happened recently. And then I know it sounds crazy, y'all gonna be like this nigga, but y'all ever like I'm a little frustrated with myself. You ever do something that's kind of dumb repetitively and it makes you question your sanity?
Nigga,
You know
why
what I
you think
mean?
we
Like,
why you think we started the podcast?
well, nigga, I keep putting my
That's why
drawers
I'm
on
here.
inside out, bud.
Stay fucking up.
Hey, welcome, Prentice.
But I keep fucking putting my drawers on inside out. And I don't know.
That's not why I'm here. I'm just gonna be honest. That's not why.
I didn't hear you say that again. What did you say what you said again?
I keep putting my drawers on inside out, but it's been like weeks of doing this shit every fucking day, bud. And Sarai put me on the Lululemon, and that shit is comfortable. They boxer briefs are comfortable, so I like them motherfuckers. But they look the same both ways. But every fucking day, she's like, "Why are your drawers inside out?" And I find myself being more conscious about putting my drawers on correctly, and I keep putting the motherfuckers on inside out. But
what's the big deal?
Frustrated. So you said what?
What's the big deal?
I don't want to do that. I'm tired of her pointing it out.
Maybe they're reversible.
They're you know what? That's what I'm gonna say next time. She gonna hear this shit, so it ain't gonna work. But maybe they are. But that shit just
I've never bought
for some reason. Like I can't even put my drawers on correctly, so it's just making me feel a little crazy lately. Other than that, you know, life is doing what life does.
Are they like longer length joints? Because I don't like the real short boxer briefs. Like I don't like them, and I really struggle like
really
with my
comfortable
boxer
though.
briefs.
So if you ain't had a pair of Lululemon boxer briefs, get you some. But them motherfuckers comfortable as hell.
How much they cost?
Shit, I don't know. I'll be going to the outlet.
Oh, I didn't even think Lululemon had an outlet.
Yeah, they got one like an hour from here, so I go down there. And hella cheap. But yeah, that's about it, man. You know, other than that, ain't no shit out. Making it happen. Making it work.
Get on the podcast talking about their draws. Yeah. All right.
Hey, it's a real podcast, bro.
It is a real podcast.
We definitely think you was gonna say that shit though.
I knew it too. I knew it. I was like, y'all gonna be like this nigga.
Yeah, all is good though, man. Ain't nothing really shaking up in my world. Everything is everything. Just I gotta work, man. I gotta work and get this bread. Finish getting my house together, and after that, everything will be good, yo. There's really nothing to report too much.
Lies.
What's up with the kitchen?
Nothing really. Yeah, kitchen's still struggling, bro.
You said Saturday.
He was here Saturday, but we ran into some more. You know how when you tear shit, that ran into some more complications. So we had some plumbing issues.
He flirting with our relationship.
No doubt.
I told you that what the contingency was.
Nah, no doubt.
It's looking like. I'm just saying.
We're gonna be good, bro. We're gonna be good.
Because you know what's gonna happen, right? You know my kitchen that my uncle was gonna start on next week. I just hit Rumford up yesterday to order the cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yesterday. My shit gonna fuck around and be done before yours.
Shorty out there already, or is she getting out soon?
That's gonna be crazy.
Tomorrow. She leaves tomorrow. She's already moved. It's just like she wanted to. I mean, she has to the end of the month, but she wanted until tomorrow to just get everything out. So I picked the keys up tomorrow. Or excuse me, my uncle gonna pick the keys up for me tomorrow, and then I'm gonna go in there on Thursday. When I'm in town.
Did Shorty hit you up? I gave her your math. Told her to hit you.
Nah, if she called me, and I don't got no voicemail. I don't got no text messages, nothing like that. So
yeah, I don't even know her number to be like, you get a number from this number. Right?
Nah, she ain't hit me. But yeah, so I gotta drop some bread in there. So yeah, he gonna start. He got to redo my floor in my bathroom because the tile he put down, something wrong with it. So he got to take that up, redo that, and then hang my cabinets. And then I had the countertops. The cabinets won't be here till mid July. So, just saying, it ain't looking good for you. That's all I'm saying.
No doubt. But let's get to it, man. We jumping into the topic of this. The check-in was pretty smooth today. 10 minutes. Take 20 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah, that was
Yo,
10
wait.
minutes,
How was your therapy session?
Yo, she canceled on me again, bro. We're supposed to do it
I
today.
didn't know. I didn't know she canceled on you the first time.
No,
I thought it was.
supposed to do
Oh,
today,
maybe you did
today
say
at
that. Maybe
2.
you did.
Yeah, supposed to do it today at 2. So I don't know, man. I ain't liking this. We met twice, and that was it. It's been 3 weeks
Not that
since
this
then.
matters, but does the reason feel valid?
I don't think it's like Chief. You know, I need to reschedule again. Can we do next week same time? I'm like, all right, cool. I didn't really like why. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a hit. I got a list of them that I had when I was looking for her. So I'm just gonna see if I can find another one.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe 3 strikes and you're out. Because next week will be three.
This is 3. This is 3.
You said she rescheduled twice. Oh, twice and then today.
And today. This is the 3rd one.
And no matter
what,
what, like how long the time?
3 weeks in a row though.
That really sucks. That really sucks. Yo, go to Lindsay. The girl, my girl. She's in Manchester. Probably shorter drive. But Lindsay ain't taking nobody right now. You got to know somebody. And based on your contractor woes, I don't know you no more. So.
Anywho, let's get to it. Today's topic. We talking about talking, y'all. That's what we talking about. We talking about talking, and I want to dial it back from first before we get into it. But I was on a plane going to Florida last week or week before, whatever, and the dude in front of me was arguing with his person. I don't know who it was because of his person, and it was just like, I called you all day, and the moment I leave, I feel like you're acting different now. You're acting kind of funny. Like, what are you doing? Are you entertained by somebody else? Like I've only been gone 6 hours, and I'm just like, and then he was like, no, you're not fucking listening to me. But he's like, you know, on the plane, and I'm just like, that shit is so unhealthy, bro. That shit is so unhealthy. So it just read like young and immature and insecure, and I'm just like, I wanted to have a conversation with you guys and be like, yo, when did that security come about? Like, and how that shows up in your world, and what it was like when you didn't have that security as it pertains to relationships, because it was really like, it was like uncomfortable. There was a ton of accusations, and then like, I can't remember, but it was something he like said something that kind of like, yeah, well, okay, I know you were at work, but I still text you didn't call me back. It was something like the person explained why and he was like, yeah, I know, but still, like, I've only been gone 6 hours and you're just acting kind of funny. It's like, damn, my man, it's 6 hours. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, and I'm just like, damn, and I can remember like carrying some of those insecurities. Like, you hear, as soon as you hear anything in the background, like, who that? What was that? You know what I'm saying? And it was just, so I don't know. I wanted to start with security and then dive into like effective communication in relationships, because I don't think we learn, like, I don't think our parents were raising us to like, this is how you get, this is how you treat, but it's never how you talk. You know what I'm saying? It was, it wasn't how you navigate through the tension. It's like treat with respect, blah, 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 blah. But like when shit gets heavy and we get into our feelings, like I'm sure all of us have responded in ways we're not very proud of, or ways we could have done better in. So I want to dial it back and start with a security thing first, and then go into the communication points of it. But I took some stats on just how effective communication is, but we'll get to that when it comes. But like, where do you guys start and say, where do you guys think your confidence or your security comes from as it pertains to specifically as it pertains to relationships? Like when Sarai calls you and tells you I'm in the crib and with so and so and her friend Johnny came over, you're not like, who the fuck is Johnny? Where you come from? You're like, oh, all right, cool, you know, I'll be later, whatever. You ain't really tripping about that. But it sounded like Money on the Plane was like, yo, like, who that? Why you entertaining somebody when I'm not around? Type shit.
You know where my mind went is like, what if his concerns are valid? Like
maybe.
Like we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like
we don't. But my perspective.
What if she had a baby on him? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's where my mind went. Like,
you know, if I'm being honest, I think it was a dude he was talking to. I mean, that could be. What if he had right? Whatever. But
yeah,
I think it was a dude.
Same. Yeah. Like,
yeah. Right. I think it was a dude he was talking to.
So, that was my first thought. And then you said something else, and I wanted to say something about that. You said our parents. You said So that's my first thought on the scenario. Then in terms of our parents teaching us like to be respectful. Here's the interesting part. I don't doubt that all of our parents told us that. However, I would argue that there's been at least a time or two that they didn't live up to what they were preaching, either based on how they allow somebody to treat them or how they treated somebody else that we witnessed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know that that was enough, is what I'm saying. Like that conversation that they had with us.
But even then, it was real. Like when we started the podcast, everything was real surface level. That conversation was respect. Be respectful of girls. Pull out chairs. Open doors.
Yeah.
The general stuff. But I'm talking about really like in communication. Because I'm sure you done seen Pop cuss a couple niggas out. You know what I'm saying? And then
I mean, but to answer your question, very very short. My parents never talked to me about communication. Like they weren't effective communicators. So I've never seen effective communication. Actually,
and that's where I want to get into the conversation, because we learn through trial and error, of course, but like,
and we also learn through witnessing too.
Yeah,
like
okay. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like we mirror the behaviors that we see,
right?
Too, you know what I'm saying? So it is trial and error. Personally,
as we've evolved, we've learned various ways to communicate. And is that through our conversation? I mean, it can't be just within the past 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to pick up these traits somewhere. And most of the time, I think a woman is teaching us these things. But
I agree.
All in all, like even if it goes to communication with each other, like at what point did you, like, we've had some pretty intense conversations over the past. And I think that has to do with the comfort zone that we provide for one another. But like, when did you learn or feel comfortable even like, yo, I'm going through some, like, shit heavy right now? Like we've done that for quite some time, Bell. We may not have had all the answers for each other, but like we've communicated with each other from a very, early. It's like, where did we pick that up from? Where did we learn that from? Is it you know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't taught to us. And we, even in the midst of men don't talk, men don't, men ain't therapy or whatever, we still found it. We didn't label it that, but we still found a way to communicate. And like, where does it get cultivated from? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, am I making sense?
Yeah, you are. I think I learned a lot of my shit from what I didn't like that my mom did. You know what I mean? Because like my mom raised me, so thinking about it, I think that was really profound what you said. We're taught, how to treat them, but not how to talk. You know what I mean? Like those are two very, very different things. For my mom, I knew, like when I had conflict or discussions with her, I knew I didn't like how she like dismissed my shit. And like moms would, it was just in her nature, like, all right, okay, whatever. We didn't talk things through. So I knew that was something I didn't like. So I think inherently I just listened to other people. You know what I mean? I try not to dismiss anything that's said to me, but it's funny. Bell said, he thought like, what if the dude on the plane is valid? And I thought to myself automatically, like, that's like cheating talk. You know what I'm saying? Like I had that type of insecurity when I was cheating, when I was doing dirt. You know what I'm saying? Like you trying to hold it together, you done some wrong shit, but in the back of your mind, you can't help but think maybe this is my payback for the shit she don't know about that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So maybe this 6 hours she over here tricking off or fucking around, or maybe I'm just telling on myself and don't realize it.
Yeah, because if you had those 6 hours, what you would be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
I was in that same boat. Yeah.
But then the role is automatically reversed, and all of a sudden you like, where was you? Where was you at? What was you doing? So for me, like you said, like you use Sarai example, like, like she was in Miami for 5 days. I barely spoke to her, bro. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I wasn't out here tricking off and bullshitting, so I didn't have anything on my brain to, give me any thoughts that anything was going on. You know what I mean? Like I checked her location probably like 3-4 times, you know what I'm saying? But that was only when it was late. That's only when it was late and I didn't hear from her. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I mean, there's a safety element too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was late and I didn't hear from her. But when I did talk to her, I wasn't like, yo, where was you at? What was you doing? I'm just like, yo, you good. You know what I mean? Because I'm used to hearing from you. So I automatically went to thinking, that's what niggas do when they be cheating this shit,
Right. So that goes to a point where we need to talk to the fellas and be like, yo, like if you out here doing that dirt, you can't. You like, I think it's natural and it's happened to all of us that you start to project that shit or at least think it into your head. You think
Yeah,
these thoughts ahead. Maybe she doing what I'm
yeah,
doing, and that shit shows up in real time, and it destroys relationships. You know what I'm saying?
Yo,
So
you know what's ill though? We talk about like these basically learned behaviors. Like what's ill is from that same example, Prentice, like you projecting, because that's essentially what you're doing, right? Like you're projecting your insecurities on the Sarai in this case, if that was the scenario, or me with low, whatever. But what I learned through that is like that's not only in relationships. And what I mean by that is I was literally just having this conversation with my boss about a scenario that I had last year, 2 years ago, like a corporate scenario. And I was being accused of something. And I'm like, you're accusing me of this because this isn't outside the realm of possibilities of what you would do.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, if you know me, this ain't a discussion. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a discussion. Like, there's nothing to talk about. Like, I don't feel like I need to, like, you shouldn't have, you're telling me this. You're saying this because if the shoe was on the other foot, you would probably do it. You know what I'm saying? And that, and I learned that. Like, I learned that with like a lot of different scenarios, friendships, like money scenarios, all kinds of stuff. Like with people, it's just like, oh, you tripping because you ain't heard from me. And if I didn't hear from you and I owed you money and you owe me money, you had no plans to pay me back. My ringer was just off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm paying you in the day I told you I was going to pay you. I just didn't hear your call. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's obviously, but that's what I learned. Like a lot of the people is like,
speaking of that, I'll send you some bread. You get it?
Yeah, I got it. Good looking. But anyway, it's all like a lot of that stuff has to do with insecurity, to your point, Chief, right? Because they're not secure in something that they would do. So they're immediately feeling like you would do the same. And all I'm saying is that's just not only in relationships or intimate relationships.
Yeah. I don't think I necessarily apply that type of thought outside of relationships. Like now that you say that, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I don't think I look at any friendships or even interactions outside of a personal relationship. Like, oh, that's what you would do, type shit. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I've ever done it. And
I don't
think
apply it.
That dude did it on the plane.
Yeah, he probably got some. He probably needs some therapy. Like he probably got a lot of stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. Is like I don't apply that in every scenario. Because this shit I'll accuse you of that I would probably do, but it's not egregious. It's like nothing, like it's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like if Chief, like for instance, if he can't find a pair of shoes, he's calling me. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bell, you got my shoes? And I'm like,
more than likely he'd be like, yeah, I took them last time.
A lot of times I take them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not outside the realm of possibilities. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is valid, you know? But if he called me and was like, Bell, did you steal $200 out of my dresser? I'm like,
yeah.
You might say like, he might say something like, yo, I'm missing 200. You didn't happen to see it lying around the house. He'll say something like that only because he's trying to figure out who was there and if somebody saw it. But never would he think I would steal it. You know what I'm saying? Like that would never cross his mind because he wouldn't do no shit like that to me. You know, so he's not gonna ask me nothing crazy like that. So anyway.
So as it pertains to that security thing, I don't know if there's a moment where we can be like, yeah, I don't respond like that anymore. But like, where does your security now come from? Is it validated by the woman you're with? Is it a personal thing? You dig what I'm saying? Because the people
are we speaking
all over the
specifically
country,
for relationships?
Yes, people all over the country are having these problems. This insecurity is a mofo, bro. And there's a lot of dudes, and it's even, I think it's even worse with dudes. Because dudes like fight all dudes do all this struggling to get the bad chick and then act like she ain't bad or act like nobody else thinks she bad anymore. Like dudes, like fam, you know she bad. It's gonna be dudes who flirt with her. Like you gotta ease up a little bit, bro. They get the bad shit and then start being controlling and all that good shit. So I'm asking, like, is there a point where
if you really want to boil it down, it's deeper than anything we're talking about right now. Like that shit comes back to self-love, bro. Like if you're specifically talking about relationships, that's my opinion. Because in the scenario you just gave, the dude that got the bad chick, like there's something that is missing from his security. You know what I'm saying? Like it's inadequacy. Mm-hmm. That's the word I'm looking for. It's some level of inadequacy somewhere to make him or her, like whoever it is, like to feel that they're not worthy of this individual, or they're not worthy of respect, or they're not worthy of monogamy. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, that's why I said, like in that original airplane scenario, I'm like, you know, does he have reason, right? Like, was the individual out here wilding and he got caught or she got caught? And now it's cause for concern because that's different. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not insecure by my own merit. Like I'm insecure because you did something. But again, self-love, right? Where it's like, you don't have to stay. Like you don't have to stay. Like if somebody does something wrong to you, you don't have to stay. But if you're staying, what void is that filling? Right? What level of insecurity are you dealing with? That's why I said it comes back down to self-love. And that's just my personal opinion. There may not be no science behind it, but that's what I think.
So I'm listening to you, and that was gonna be my next
point. I do
point,
have
like,
a pinpoint though. Like
go ahead, Prentice.
Go ahead, Pete.
Oh, I'm saying I do have a pinpoint when I started living right and just, you know, that self-love thing. You know, when you treat yourself better, some of those previous thoughts and notions you have change, but you got to kind of change your lifestyle and behavior. You know what I mean? If you don't change your lifestyle and behavior, you can't expect not to assume that other people you're associating with aren't rocking the same way. You know, like it's a lot easier to put that on somebody else if that's how you're living, regardless of the relationship. So if you're living foul with money and shit, it's easier to assume that people are trying to get over on you financially because you have a tendency to try to manipulate those situations. But if you fix that, you tend to look at people's behavior differently because you're not rocking like that no more. You know, or like sometimes if you surround yourself around other people, like, you know, Bell's a perfect example for me. The way Bell handles business, you know, like our conversations with the shit we got coming up, the way we plan, the way he thinks. Now it's putting my eye on like, okay, I need to change how I look at like my personal business, how detailed and thorough I am, because I just listen to how this man thinks and approaches things from top to bottom. I'm like, I'm skipping steps. So now when I have that interaction with other people, you know, I can identify when they're not being as thorough as they need to, because now I'm putting myself around somebody else who is, you know what I mean? So I think it's like, it's self-love and change behavior.
So
I agree.
Do we equate the person who forgave the cheater of not having self-love? Is it a lack of self-love there? Like what happens then? What happens in that case, fellas?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like there's inadequacy somewhere, because again, and I've been on the receiving side. I'll use my example. Like I've been cheated on before, and my initial reaction was like, I deserve that. Like I deserve that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, I was wilding. Like she owed me at least that. You know what I'm saying? So like that's where I went to. And then if you really want to peel back the layers, it's like, what void are you trying to fill like myself when I was cheating? Like what void am I trying to fill? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm messing with this one, I'm messing with that one, and I'm supposed to be in a monogamous relationship, but I'm out in these streets. So it's like there's a void. There's something I'm trying to fulfill. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, but
So
that's looking
there's
back at it now. You
no.
in that moment, you wasn't going, damn, I just knocked shorty off my girl at home. What am I trying to fulfill? In that moment, you like, what's done is done.
That's what I was gonna
That's,
say.
this is hindsight right
Well,
now, no?
I was gonna say the
No,
same thing.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm agreeing with you. But what I'm saying is, regardless if it's conscious or subconscious, there's a void that needs to be filled. And what I'm saying is potentially that void could be due to lack of self-love, right? Because there's a level of inadequacy that you view for yourself somewhere, right? If it's like, well, if somebody say, well, I just want to take advantage of all opportunities, but at whose cost? You know what I'm saying? Like you're hurting somebody because you're trying to fulfill something that's superficial. But why is it superficial, right? Like that's what I go back to.
So is it?
I
So
think
is it? Go ahead, P. Go ahead.
I think that's a good point because that's something I'm learning how to do in the moment now. Like I think if we train ourselves to ask ourselves during just any type of conflict, what void am I trying to fill? Why am I doing this? If we can train ourselves to ask that question over trying to justify the action and behavior, we'll be better. Perfect example. I've been on this kick with the women of my children, and I've been thinking about it since that episode we did, where I've been saying how the fuck I feel, right? Like I've been very vocal about feelings, which is something that I have not done the majority of my fatherhood, right? And I had started to ask myself, like, yo, why am I so adamant about making sure they know how I feel? You know what I mean? Making sure I speak up. Like, what are the reasons? And then I got to the point where I realized, okay, well, one, I know there have been a lot of things that have happened that I am not okay with, but I went along with because how I was feeling about myself as a father. So that guilt or that insecurity I had on my job was allowing me to remain mute or silent on areas that I didn't speak up on that I should have, that have now cultivated this relationship to where I just kind of lay down in this situation. And then I realized that I'm trying to find like some new balance, you know what I mean? Like new level of speaking up for myself and defending myself in areas where I was kind of timid before. So I think if we can, retrain our brains again to ask ourselves during certain action behavior that may be new, um, why am I doing this? Just really like, why am I doing this? And it's not necessarily easy because a lot of times we trying to justify why we doing it, or and the answer to the why isn't something that causes us to like ask ourselves, okay, after we ask ourselves why and we give the answer, the next question is this good for me? Is this good for everybody? So I think there's kind of steps, but if we cannot justify and start to ask ourselves, what are we trying to prove on a deeper level? I think it'd be a little easier to kind of, like manage our emotions and figure out why we do the shit that we do.
I got a hot take on that, Prentice. And I don't know if this is true, so I'm gonna pose it as a question. Do you believe that your ability now to speak up for yourself, do you think it has anything to do with your current life circumstances? Like more than I want to be heard now. Like, let me ask the question a different way. Like almost like here's a very direct way to ask the question. Do you feel before that your opinion was even worthy enough to be mentioned?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was how I viewed myself, though. It was the guilt trip I put on myself. You know what I mean? Like that's what it was. Like I'd always find something about myself that I wasn't happy about, that I felt needed improvement to justify why I didn't do something.
So did
You
you
know what I
feel
mean?
like
Maybe
because you saw yourself that way, that they saw yourself that way, that they saw you that way?
probably,
Or
probably.
are you saying you would come up short in certain areas of, I won't say parenting, but parenting and or co-parenting, you would come up short. So as a result, you were like, well, I'm not doing everything I need to be doing, so I'm not going to speak up on when I feel a way about what they're not doing or some shit like that. That makes sense. Yeah.
Perfect example. I'd be short on tuition for school, and she got to cover it. And so now I'm beating myself up because it's like, damn, I can't even cover this boy tuition, and now she got to pay for it. So now it's like she got an upper hand on me in my eyes. You know what I mean? She ain't saying shit. She not grilling me, but in my head, I know that's something that I need to be taken care of, and I need to pay this shit on time. But this month or 2 months in a row, I ain't have it all, or I ain't have it at all, and he had to go to school, so she had to cover it. So now I'm beating myself up because I'm behind on tuition payments.
It's
And
guilt
so
trip.
now it's like, how can I speak on
Yep.
this activity you put him in without consulting with me first? You know what I'm saying? When this is a co-parenting thing, right? We talk about the things we do with our child, and if it affects my schedule, I should know. But then my mind goes to, nigga, you ain't paid tuition in 2 months, bro. You know what I mean?
Shut your
Like,
ass
so
up. Yeah, just happy to
yeah,
be here. Yeah.
yeah,
Be happy to
yeah.
be
So
here.
things like that, man. You know what I mean? That I beat myself up because I care about doing, but I'm not doing to the level that I want to. And then again, you know, like she took care of it, but I reflect to that, so I don't say anything. And so now it's this speak up regardless thing, right? And I got to find that sweet spot because I'm no longer, nigga, shit is what it is. You know what I mean? Like we all fall short somewhere, and I understand that, right? Like the point is, you just do what you can and work on the things wherever you're falling short, whether it's time, financial, conversations. But that's a perfect example. You know, like I'll have something where I feel I'm slipping and I'm beating myself up more than anybody else, and I'm using that as justification as to why I shouldn't be vocal here or giving my 50% of my opinion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's like it's a partnership and you're coming up short in the partnership. So as a result of you coming up short, you don't feel like you have as much equity stake. Where it's like, no, this is just one area.
Perfect, man. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's all it is.
Yeah.
So I took two things from that, P,
Mm-hmm.
and and the second part will help us transition into the communication part of it. But so in that scenario, in terms of like an event, like my daughter does a softball joint, right? And I take care of all expenses, and I've had to, you sign her up for something that I didn't agree to, or it doesn't necessarily match my schedule, and it's like, yeah, it don't match mine either. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm on the other end of your thing, and it's just kind of like we got to make adjustments. Like this is again, it's not in spite of her. Like I didn't sign her up for this so her games are all when while she's working. That wasn't the intent, but sometimes it happens where she got a game at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday, and mom works till 5. You dig what I'm saying? But I've
Mm-hmm.
now am I in a so there's a general like, yeah, we're gonna go try over some teams. Okay, we selected this team. She playing over here. As soon as the information comes out, I'll get it to you, and I get her the schedule and everything like that in advance. But like I'm looking at it now, like am I does that need to be a consensus for us to agree for her to play on a certain team or something like that? You dig what I'm saying? Like,
So here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my question. If you weren't paying for it, would you consult with her?
as in if she was paying for it, or like if I'm confused.
Like, or yeah, flip the scenario around. If she was paying for something, she didn't tell you about it, and then she just gave you the schedule, would you feel like you should have been consulted ahead of time?
I think I'd look at it differently because I would be like, yo, if that's what the baby wants to do, then I gotta figure it out. That would be my response. Like, yo, I gotta figure my schedule out. My daughter got ballerina classes on this day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So why didn't you consult with her ahead of time?
No, I did. It just wasn't like I told her, so like for example, there's 7 different teams we trying out for. It was probably like 4 different teams we trying out for, and we like the one we just happened like the one that was closer in Newington, but there was one in East Hartford that might have been, a decent option as well. But I just said we try out for team. I'll keep you posted, let you know what we do. And I was like, okay, she liked the team in Newington. So I kept her abreast of what's going on, but it wasn't like I extended the courtesy of having any
Decision
privilege in the
making.
decision making.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
based upon whatever insecurities you may have as a parent, that may or may not affect how you feel about the co-parenting and yourself.
It wasn't, but see that. So again, mine is from the other. I'm on the other side of it. P. I'm like, I'm paying for. She's gonna have to get down and lay down type thing.
Exactly.
You know
No,
what I'm saying?
exactly. But
Yeah.
but that
I did
comes
it,
from a place.
but I'm doing that with a little bit. I think it's not as blunt as get down and lay down, but it's, you know, I filled you in. This is what it is. I'm keeping you abreast of what's going on. I'm not
But you
completely
don't really
excluding
care
you.
what she has to say because you're gonna get it done regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but it's not done in spite though, fellas. And that's the
I'm not
thing.
saying
Yeah,
it is.
no, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It could just be what the circumstances are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think the intent automatically equates to being spiteful at all. What I'm saying is that being on the receiving end, it's just a possibility. And I'm not saying the person who's making the financial obligation, if they're the sole person doing it, is wrong in any sense. I'm just saying on the opposite side, depending on the insecurities you may have as a parent, decision making like that can affect you in a certain way, right? Like, it doesn't mean she has to be oppositional to you, but it may mean that after you let her know and she hangs up the phone, she's going through some personal shit in her head about what she is or is not doing. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It don't make you wrong at all.
I got a perfect example. I'm at, like, it's hypothetical. I don't know how much this softball shit costs. A lot, I would imagine, considering the goddamn bats cost $500. Neither here nor there. My question to you is this, and I'm just gonna throw some astronomical numbers, right? Hypothetically, say the team costs 10 racks. You can't cover 10 racks, right? You can't cover it. You need her support. You have 5. You need her to cover the other 5.
I know where you're going with this shit.
Would the conversation be different than the one that you had when you was covering everything?
If I'm being, and this is my stubbornness kicking in. If I'm being honest, we're gonna find a team that she can play for 5 racks. Because I don't want to ask.
So now that goes back to Prentice's what he just said. There's some insecurities that's living somewhere, right? And it could be stubbornness, it could be fear of rejection, because that's, I mean, let's just be honest. Like, if you're afraid to ask because you don't want to hear no because it's going to piss you off because you feel like it's something that they should do,
or disappointment. It can be you just want to avoid the disappointment of asking the other parent to do something and they're not able to fulfill it once again. You know what I'm saying?
Those are all very small and possible things. But in my head, I don't want to ask for nothing.
Yeah, but bro, that's coming from somewhere. You're not exactly. Whether you like it or not, you're co-parenting. Period. So it's like you may have the means.
And there's
like you may have the means, but
there's something that got you to not wanting to ask for nothing. There's some incidents, there's some occurrence, there's some dynamic within your relationship that gets you to the point where it's because I can relate. You know, let's say that. I can relate. And here's something that happened.
Here's the thing, too, bro. Who is it really about? In this particular scenario, who is it about? Because it ain't you, and it ain't her.
Right? No,
it's Mia, right? So what you just said is we're gonna find a team that she can play for $5,000. So who's really losing? Right? Because of an insecurity, because of something. I'll just say something. So because of that, now she suffers. Where it's like all you had to do was have a conversation and explain everything the way you would have liked it to be explained to you, and let the chips fall where they may. And then it's a conversation like, look, baby girl, we don't have the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, your mom don't have that, so we got to do this. I got this, so I can do this for you. Whereas opposed to, well, Dad, why am I not paying for the $10,000 team? Well, I didn't want to ask your mom. And then that, wait, hold on, Prince, real quick. And that goes back to you teaching them how to communicate versus you showing them how to communicate. Because I have no doubt in my mind that you teach your kids effective communication, period. No doubt. But when that scenario, that's you showing them otherwise, that goes against everything you say. And I'm not saying that it's easy. So let me just be very clear.
I've recently had a similar conversation, and I don't want to put it in the air. I'll tell you guys when we get off. But it kind of made me feel bad to have the conversation, but this was me being honest about my communication with the kids. You know what I'm saying? So it was helping them understand why I'm making the decisions I'm making.
Was it justifying the decisions you're making? And we can talk about it after.
Yeah. So, Pete, to go back, you said, and the way you said it is what has me asking this question. You said, I've fallen into this place where I'm just now telling them how the fuck I feel. And there was a lot of emphasis on that. So now I want to talk about how you communicate that, because there's a difference between, listen, for quite some time now, I've had some insecurities and I didn't speak up when I thought I should. So at this point right now, this is how I'm feeling and blah, blah, blah. And this comes across as a way where you're asking for understanding rather than, no, fuck that. You're not about to do this. We not having this shit no more. You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference in how you deliver this message, which is why I wanted to talk about the communication component of it, because how are you communicating that? Is it coming from
it depends.
I held back for so long, here you go. Or is it, you know what I mean?
I have a thought.
It depends on the mom. That's the real answer. It depends on the mom, bud.
So
that's the real. I mean, there's one that I don't have to talk like that to. We can just have a conversation, and I can, we're amicable enough for me to be able to just communicate in a very not turned up way. There's another one where it's more so what I think you're talking about with those conversations you having to have with your kids, so that they understand why you're making decisions you're making, and placing that individual in a position to where it's not on me anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's not on me anymore to maybe protect the image, but I'm going to make sure that my child knows certain things, so they, so it's on them to make the decision they make, and whatever decision they make, the child is going to interpret things as a result. And with her, there's a little bit more of a tone there, because I know the resistance I get, and I know the tone that I've been dealing with since forever. And then there's another one that I don't even fucking speak to no more.
But see, even with that, so I've grown immensely at still being able to modify and keep my tone civil when the other person is out of hand, like immensely. You know what I'm saying? And so when you say it depends on them, it's still, you still control how you respond and how you communicate, though. You dig what I'm saying? And one of the questions I wrote in the treatment is, do you match energy? Do you match energy, P?
Yeah. I'm not.
You know who you dealing with? Of course he does.
For me, hell. Yeah. Yeah. Like when you've tried to attempt to take the high road a couple of times and you just ain't getting nothing back, fuck all that kind shit, man. This shit is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, and I just don't feel bad about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I can match some energy and not feel bad and not feel like I'm not growing, because with this one, I'm growing. You know what I mean? But with this one, it is what it is.
I hear what you're saying, and I get it. But that goes back to, what are we teaching our kids now?
Yo, but I got another hot take.
I don't do it in front of them.
They know.
I got another hot take, Chief.
What's that?
I don't know that. I agree that you've changed your tone. Like, you've gotten really good at that, actually. But I don't know that you don't still have the same impact that you would have if you were to raise your voice. Like, I guess what I'm saying is, you can change your tone, but I think the way you argue, the impact is still felt as if it was if you were raising your voice. So I feel like you've done a great job of changing your tone. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way you argue, it can still cut as deep.
I don't know, Bell. Last time I'm telling you,
And
man, like
I haven't been present in a while. I'm just,
it's been a long time, and I distinctly remember like recently, and it was just like, yo, like you don't have to talk to me like that. Like you're not gonna talk to me like that. So when you're ready to speak to me, like, and I'm really like, nah, I'm not doing this. So have a good day. Like I'm not even engaged. I'm not matching energy like that no more, bro. I'm really not.
But here's a question. This is for both of you. Here's a question in that specific scenario that you just mentioned. It's like, and the general question is who's matching whose energy, right? Sometimes as a man, we could. It's obvious, right? Our voices are deeper when we raise our voice. It commands attention. Whether what we're saying is right or wrong, it will get somebody's attention. My question is the energy being matched by you or by them? Because when we're not yelling, sometimes we can still do things and say things that hurt people. So my question is the energy that's coming out in response to you, or do you feel your energy is responding to them? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll just give you a perfect example. To avoid that scenario, and I'm not saying this is right, I'm saying to avoid that scenario, when it's a tense time with me and Lo, something that can wait, I like something that's not urgent, meaning like we got to get to the bottom of this today. I email it. Because that way nothing can be taken out of context. I email it.
Shit.
Or I'll wait till we see our therapist. And I'll just,
you got patience.
I do. I yes, I do. But that's not like, if it's something that's like detrimental to our lives, then I won't be able to do that. Period. But you're married, Prentice. So you and Sarai bicker. All married couples bicker, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes though, that bickering can turn into something more. So what I'm saying is
true.
Like if I see something happening, continuing to happen, because I'm also guilty of seeing something, and not saying anything, and then blowing up, which isn't fair either. So what I'll do is, the way I combat that is I'll just write it. Like I gave this scenario before, and I don't want to take too much time up, but basically, when we moved in here and we had 1 month left of renovations and we lived here, and Lo was complaining every day, and that shit was like irritating me to my soul. Like it was, because one, I'm a protector, I'm a provider, and there was nothing I could do to change the scenario. The renovations were going, quite frankly, as fast as humanly possible, but it wasn't fast enough. So for me, I'm like, there's nothing I can do. So I felt defenseless. So instead of like barking on her when she would complain in real time, I just wrote her email. It was like, I'll give you $2,000 to go move back to Connecticut with your mom, like for the next 30 days. Like I just couldn't deal with it anymore. But when she read it, she received it in a way where it was like I was able to articulate myself and not in an emotional place. And again, it does take patience, and it's not every scenario that's plausible for. But that's why I asked who's responding to who.
I got a question for y'all.
From my perspective, in my the most recent situation I can think of, I was getting screamed on, and unwarranted, and it was just like, yeah, like, and again, I thought about the whole, everything is an argument conversation. It's like, yo, like we don't have to do this, and I
was gonna say, yeah,
but I gave it a minute. I gave it some space, and I was like, listen, let's just talk. We can talk about this, but you're not about to scream at me. It kept going. Listen, like, let's communicate. Like, why are you yelling? I'm not your child. Like, don't yell at me. All right, you didn't get it now, so now we can't talk no more. And that was that.
Yeah, I feel that. I got a question for y'all. What do you do when you're capable of being the calm voice, the calm baseline? You attempt to be the calm voice, the calm baseline in communication, but the only way they receive the information is from being turned up.
Yeah.
And that's
the real thing. That's the real thing.
When you got the capability of bringing it down, being cool, articulating yourself in a way that you're not offending anybody, you're mindful about your words, your tone, your energy, but the only way The only way they get the message is if you turn up. What do you do then?
I think you take
Because the only option
one.
sounds like Chief. You just be like, we ain't talking about it then.
So
That don't solve nothing.
you exert an extensive amount of patience and try to continue to get your point across and work on your communication skills. You take the out road like Bell and perhaps send an email to where emotions are taken out of it. Now she can read what you have to say, or you communicate maybe a voice note or something like that. You try a different method, but in that moment, if it isn't working for you, I'm trying so hard not to engage in that type of hostility, if you will. I really am working very hard at not like arguing. Like I really believe people we can find a common ground and be able to talk. And if you can't talk, let's take some space until we're ready to talk.
See, I don't personally believe that there's anything wrong with arguing if it's coming from a respectful place. You know what I'm saying? Like we've argued, all of us. Never has it gotten disrespectful. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's never.
Which one of us yelled at each other though?
No, but there's a mutual love. That's the difference. There's a mutual love.
That and you. This goes back to what I was saying. None of us have to yell at each other for their words to sting. You know what I'm saying? None of us have to do that for us to get a scathing point across. So yelling or not yelling in this scenario is inconsequential because the same impact can be had from a tone like this.
Right. So I'm referencing those people who haven't yet grown into their effective communication phase and instantly resort to yelling. And there's a ton of people out there who are dealing with that right now. So how do we coach those people up on monitoring themselves, and how do we coach the recipient of that tension or that anger or whatever in that moment? Like my thing is, I'm trying to talk about communication and it comes in various forms, but how do we help people navigate through that shit? Because I know a lot of people are like, yo, I can't talk to Shorty, she arguing, or he don't never listen, or whatever the case may be.
It's not a one-sided thing. That's the first and foremost. Like you can't be an effective or attempt to be an effective communicator if to Prentice's point earlier, if somebody's only form of effective communication is the turn up. Because y'all both are doing what you feel is right. You know what I'm saying? And I also believe there has to be enough mutual respect and love for one another to see it from the other side. Like that's the thing.
I think that's the main point. It's the mutual respect, bro.
That's it.
And if the mutual respect is not there, you got to understand that you can't coach this motherfucker at all.
Because that's it.
But in many cases, that respect isn't there. In many cases, that respect is there. In that moment, shit just went left. And now, now it's all the apologies and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I don't know if I all the way agree with that. And here's what I mean by that.
Me neither.
And I'll just speak specifically for relationships, specifically. Like, if there's an understanding, now that's the caveat. There has to be an understanding of the best way for you to communicate. It's like we talked about that, Chief. We're talking about when you date, like, all right, we talk about on the podcast, like, to lead with that. Because when you do it in an argument, it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you try to tell people the best way to communicate with you in an argument, it's already too late. Like, you have to do it proactively. And that may require, so if the best way for you to communicate to me is not yell, cool. And the person's best way to communicate when they're frustrated is to yell, then guess what? Y'all might need to give each other space for a little bit, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, then come back to it. But that has to be a mutual understanding. And there has to be enough love and respect for that to happen. And I would believe that there probably has to be even more mutual love and respect for a co-parenting situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's another level.
Yeah, because you can stop talking and agree to take space and go, you know what? I'm going to take this larger route and send that email, like Bell says. And guess what? You get a response email that is just as fucking scathing as the yelling. They have to be on the same page, willing, whoever it is in whatever the relationship is, they have to be willing to take it down and try a different approach to get the point across. I think that's the bottom line. And if they're not willing, if they're so programmed, which isn't on you, to be turned up, there's nothing you can fucking do. So then you have to resort to, like, I feel like what you do sometimes, Chief, then we just ain't gonna talk.
Yeah, and
And that
Chief,
don't solve nothing. But
and that shows up with you in a lot of scenarios. Like I talked to you about that the other day. Like, I feel like some people have to yell, because I was thinking about that as you were talking, Prentice. And some people, but another way to effectively communicate that is like, look, I'm going to turn up for 5 minutes. I need you to let me get my shit off for 5 minutes, right? Let me get my shit off. And I'm probably going to say some hurtful shit. Let me get my shit off. And then if you need time after that, then we can regroup or whatever. Because it's like,
there's maturity in that.
yeah, I was just going to say, like, some people may not be at the level yet where they just, no, like they just have to mature to that. It's like, look, I'm working towards that, but here's what I have to go through to get there.
Most
That's
people
fair.
don't have that level of maturity, and I honestly think I'd be abundantly more receptive to someone who knew their triggers and who could express that and go, yo, this I'm not feeling right now. Just hear me out, like hear me out right now, and then they go with their shit. I could probably,
Yep.
you know, what I mean? I could probably go, okay, they know it, they realize what they're doing, they're in that zone. But a lot of people subconsciously turn up, and then afterwards, like, damn, I shouldn't have. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, and that's the shit I'm not for, bro.
Yeah, but I
Or
also
they don't
think
say I shouldn't have at all.
Yeah, and the other thing is, no one has these proactive. I shouldn't say no one, but more often than not, people aren't having these proactive conversations.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like we're having,
either hot or cold.
Yeah, it's like how many siblings you got? What's your favorite color? Like we're having those conversations. Nah, like how you respond in the face of adversity? How you respond in an argument? What's the best communication style for you? That takes maturity to even be able to have that conversation. Because in order for you to have that conversation, you would have had to have done the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love that idea. I love that idea of like, yo, let me get my shit off. That would be respected. Like, because again, it's like what you're saying, like you're acknowledging that you have an issue, but I know you're aware of it. So you getting that shit off and then you can come back. You know what I'm saying? And that actually, I think, may be a healthy practice for some people who don't have the emotional control yet. Like communicate, like, yo, let me get this shit off real quick, and then I'll turn down.
But the only way that people are going to be receptive to that is if they understand going into that argument that this is how you communicate. You know, like I said,
and a certain level of respect for the individual.
100%. Like that's the floor, right? Like that is the bare minimum standard. Yeah, and that's why again I feel it's harder in co-parenting situations because you guys can't argue and then go cuddle later. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like sometimes the only conversations you have that week is a fucking argument. You know what I'm saying? So you have nothing to balance it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
As you guys were talking, I was just trying to go back to the feuds that me and Brianna's mom used to have. I mean, back when she was a fucking toddler, because that was the last time we argued, really, for the most part. But, and I don't know that. Well, one, I was 19, right? Like 15, 18, 17, depending. So I definitely had to mature. I definitely had the wherewithal to understand that I needed a certain way to cope, you know, in the face of adversity. So is maturity, respect, maturity and respect, man, and communication, proactive communication.
And I think one of the sad realities, bro, is sometimes the respect is gone.
And that's why I said it's so challenging. Yeah.
That sometimes the respect ain't there no more. And it ain't gonna be. You know what I'm saying? And
ain't that an integrity thing?
That is the reality of the situation.
No, that's not integrity.
Ain't that an integrity thing though?
Nope. There's people I don't. There's people I don't respect.
There are certain actions and behaviors.
Yeah, but you also don't associate with them people.
There are certain actions and behaviors that are.
No, I do. Like some people you have to associate with, i.e., co-parenting. Like some people you have to associate with. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe a coworker, you have to associate with them. It's not by choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, there could be a respect. Like if I see how you handle situations and it's below board or not up to my standard, I will lose respect for you in that regard. I may not lose respect for you as a human being, but I'll lose respect for you as it pertains to that particular situation.
And I think that's where I went
Yeah,
with it, like
I
human
absolutely
respect.
can
Like I
say
don't.
it's not an integrity thing, bro. Like, think about it. I have a mother of my child that I will never respect because of the things she's done to my son. Not my personal opinion of her, the things she's done to my son. There is no way in the world that I'm going to respect you after what you've done to my baby, the circumstances, the situations you put him through, the things that have occurred that I had to find out about and know about now. The respect is gone. So in those situations, I don't have I have to pick and choose. I'm not coaching you. I'm not coaching you.
It's a
I'm
very
not
good point.
coaching you. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things you've done to my baby, my child. You know what I'm saying? The endangerment, the neglect. There is no respect here for you. I'm not at fault for that. Now, it doesn't mean I'm a curse at you when I talk to you, but I'm not fucking coaching you. I'm not considering your life, what you've been through, your attitude. If I have to speak to you, I'm gonna speak to you, and that's it, or I fucking won't. So I think it's important to acknowledge that there are some circumstances where there is no respect. And then, so what do you do in that circumstance? You do got to choose up. And when you talk, you keep it as brief as possible. But guess what? It's a lot easier to turn up with an individual that you do not respect genuinely. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's an integrity thing. I think it speaks towards the integrity of the individual that makes you feel that way. And that's a reality for some people.
So maybe I'm looking at it like disrespect, and that's the thing. Like I don't aim to disrespect anybody. So if I feel like I'm about to be disrespectful, I'd just rather not talk to you. Like that's how I disrespect you. Like, yeah, it's over. I'm not even got to talk to you. Like, hold that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
And
Maybe
then
I'm looking
there's
at it
people
different.
where it's like, yeah, and there's people who's like, oh, you're the last person who's about to be disrespectful to me. You know what I mean? So that's the flip side.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, I think to your point, Chief, he's like, you wouldn't associate with those people. If Prentice had a choice, he probably wouldn't associate with her, but he doesn't have a choice because they have a child. You know what I'm saying? So there's going to be, yeah, but what I'm saying is there's something that's tying you guys together for life, period.
True.
Now you may not have reoccurring calls or anything like that, but there's something that's tying you together for life. So that's what I'm saying, Chief, where it's like some people are just in your life and you may not have respect for them anymore for whatever reason, right? But like this is not maybe the greatest example, but your father, Chief, like you don't respect him as maybe even as a man at this point, but definitely as a father, you don't respect him. However, because of his lack of involvement in your life, he plays a part in your life, right? You guys have, because of him, you have siblings, right? So he's going to come up. You may never speak to him, but it potentially can lead to contentious conversations with your siblings because of because of your lack of respect for him. But he's in your life, like, well, not physically,
Great point.
active, but he's
Confession. I ducked a bullet the other day, and I can't say that I regret it, but so my uncle had a birthday party for his daughter, her first birthday party. And I told him I was coming, and he called me like a couple days earlier and said, your dad's gonna be here. Just want to give you a heads up. And then my brother and sister texted me that night, like, we want to give you a heads up, like, Pop's gonna be there, whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. And I wasn't really tripping about it until I woke up that morning.
Sometimes
I don't know that I would have done that either. I don't know if I would have went. Like I don't. That would have changed it.
It didn't bother me though. Like it really, I was like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But then I'm like, I'm gonna have all my kids with me. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna respond. What that's gonna feel like. You know what I'm saying?
I think you're, and we all do this to a certain degree, Chief. But I think you're really good at like dismissing something at first glance. Like anytime that this is adversity with you. Like, I think this is why you're so good at like rubbing shit, like not letting shit bother you. Like, I think you're really good at dismissing something in the moment that doesn't, I don't want to say serve you, but like, I know that's what you said. Like, I could see that conversation. Like, yeah, you're dagging about nothing, like whatever. Because it's like, nah, I'm not gonna allow that to impact me. But then when you have time with it, it's like,
No, which
This
is so
will
crazy
impact.
which is such a conundrum in my world, fellas, because you literally got at your boy because I let whatever it was tear me up.
Yeah, but
then
I
other
think you're
things I'm like-
hyper. But this is, oh my God, this is the point, Chief. A lot of that shit is displaced anger. That's my point. Like, this should bother you, but it's not in real time. But the slightest thing will.
Yeah.
Because you're not giving this, and this is just my opinion, you're not giving him the satisfaction to know that he bothers you.
Yeah,
That's
well,
my
I
opinion.
also think too, because I told you I spoke with my brother, my sister, and my uncle, and I wanted to start with them. So we were going to have our conversation to kind of help acclimate me towards approaching my dad and having that conversation. And I haven't.
Yeah, no, I don't think you should have walked into that situation like that. There's just too many things.
Movie, bro.
There's too many things that hasn't been said for you to be seeing him after having all these thoughts. You know what I mean? Like,
that ride home with the kids would have been crazy.
Where would it have been? Florida?
Upstate New York.
What part?
I'm
trying to think how long you would have had to travel. Like Rochester, that's
it was 3 hours. It was a 3 hour ride.
Yeah, that's a 6-hour commute.
Been a lot on my spirit. Anyways, fellas, we pushing up on a little around the time we normally end it. So it's crazy. We've always been around like 114 the past couple episodes, which is weird. But
I like this conversation. I didn't know where this was gonna go, which I never know, right? Like, I never know based on topics like where it's gonna end up. But I
didn't get to none of the questions I had, but I think we carried it very, very well. But I think people there was a couple points maybe like 10 minutes ago I know we were talking about, but it was like, oh, somebody's gonna like that one. Somebody's really gonna appreciate that gem right there. So and shout out to everybody who's listening. I know this is gonna do. I'll say that my final thought, but like we've been getting a lot of love, man. People really like. Fellas, we doing some good work, yo. We're not where we want to be, but like people are tapped in and growing, yo, and that shit is dope. Like for real.
Yeah. So it's funny, right? I was at dinner tonight, and Lo was like, I don't know if it's one of her client, like I don't know if it's one of her clients or what, but she's single and she's not dating, and she's like, she's talking about black men basically, and then like she said something to the effect of like, you know, like the next time I date, I want to make sure that they've done the work, you know, or something like that, or that they've done the work or willing to do the work or something to that effect. And then I was like, oh, my husband, you know, that's one thing that he promotes. He has a podcast called All Black Men Need Therapy. She's like, oh my God, that's your husband? She's like, I made a list of podcasts that when I date somebody, I'm gonna make sure that they listen to these, and we were on the list that she made.
That's funny. That's
hard.
Random AF.
Hard.
Yeah, that's real dope. That's real dope. So fellas, man, let's go ahead and get these final thoughts in. Who shall P? Final thought. You want to speak to yourself?
About how I respect a certain person, and that shit is bothering me right now.
I was just about to say this can go in a lot of directions.
You're right. So I would just say, hey, I hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Final thought.
Closed caption.
Well, hey, what your mama say? If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
That's exactly what I'm doing, because I got some shit to say.
Bell. Final thought, B.
Final thought. Figure out what you need to be an effective communicator, and for someone to be and for someone to communicate with you effectively. I think we want to be right a lot in arguments, so much so sometimes that we could miss the whole point of the discussion. And I think that there's a lot that can be gained through conflict. Like some of my closest relationships were forged through conflict. And I personally believe that and it doesn't always have to be like this, but that's the catalyst for strong relationships, like getting through something together. And if you don't know how to effectively communicate, or how people should effectively communicate with you, you can miss those opportunities, because you could get caught up in your own message or point that you won't allow anybody to get anything in edgewise, and that could have potentially cost you a very strong ally and relationship due to you going through something together and coming out stronger on the other side. So that's my final thought. Just spend some time in understanding on what you need for people to effectively communicate with you and for you to be an effective communicator.
No doubt. So I took a bunch of notes throughout the thing, fellas, and I think one of the things that we didn't mention as a key part of communication is listening. Like, you don't always got to be the one talking. Sometimes listen and hear those points being made, and then allow yourself a chance to respond. And if in that moment you can't respond effectively or positively or in a way that you deem fit for that moment, then wait and not ask, but like let them know like you're gonna take a moment to process so it doesn't feel like they're being ignored or whatever. I think that's cool. I think communicating on why you can't communicate in the moment is still an effective way to communicate. You know what I'm saying? And Bell mentioned pre-informing people of
Proactively.
how proactively.
And why the big screen on me? I'm not even talking.
Oh shit, my bad.
I was about to say the same thing.
But I think proactively informing people on the best ways to communicate with you is something that can be very beneficial in your relationship. Like, listen, and when I get hot, this is how I respond. So this is what I need from you. It might make a world of difference. You know what I'm saying? And then one of the things to consider in communication is not, the cliche. It's not always what you say, but how you say it can make a world of difference in that regard. And I think lastly, Prentice touched on it, and I think it goes very severely underrated is how we communicate with ourselves. Asking ourselves those questions in the moment of when we're doing shit we're not supposed to be doing, or even when we're doing good, like that was effective. Like what made you do it that way, and would you consider adopting this approach moving forward, or you shouldn't have done that, or why are you doing this? And I think asking ourselves these questions and having these conversations with ourselves is the start to more self-love and better communication. Fair?
Love it.
No doubt. No doubt. So, my people,
Yeah.
we are gonna keep pumping these episodes out to you, and appreciate y'all for tapping in. Feel free to hit up our website, abmnt.com. Grab yourself some merch. We got some new stuff coming out. We have some good news in the works for y'all, so stay tuned. Some more opportunities for y'all to see us in person, and it's gonna be dope. If you're going through something and just need to, get some shit off your chest, we got a voice line, 860-410-6160, 860-410-6160, and it has been used by a lot of people. People often get surprised at the fact that we answer. So we do answer. So, if we don't, leave us a voicemail. One of us will get back to you. Actually, Prentice will get back to you because it's he on the clock. But if you want to hit us up individually, Chief, Prentice, or Bell at abmnt.com. And like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Do us a favor, y'all. And hug a black man today.
Do it.
And tomorrow.
And if it's me and you see me, give me a fucking hug because I need that shit right now. Do it.
We out, y'all.
Peace.